Hey everyone, Ivy Gaming here, and today we're playing Dragonheir Silent Gods. For today's video, I'm going to talk about who you should pick from the rare hero chest. There's a lot of amazing rares in this game. Which are the best options? Today's video is sponsored by Dragonheir Silent Gods, my favorite sponsor because it's my favorite game that I've played in a long time. Be sure to join us for Season 3, Dive Deep, Battle Peak. There's a ton of new heroes, new bosses, and lots to explore. Be sure to download via Android, iOS, Mac, PC, Steam, or Epic Games if you haven't already, and use the currently working promo codes. Alright, so this is something you get for free. So that's the best part. This is free, not paid. This might also remind you of the epic $1 chest, which I highly suggest everybody buy. And we're going to talk about that as well because it kind of goes along with this. So the rare hero option chest, right? So once you click here, you can see all the rares in the game. So this is Season 1. I'm going to talk about Season 1 specifically. I would say for Season 2 and Season 3, by that point, you're probably not missing any rares, or maybe you're missing a couple weird ones randomly. So your choices for which one you pick are going to be very obvious, whoever the hell you don't have. But Season 1, your very first rare, or maybe your second rare, are still super important on who you decide to pick. Now, luckily, we are getting a lot more Heliolite dye than we used to, thanks to the game changes for Season 1 experience, which is so much fun. So I'm also getting a lot more rares than I had Season 1 last time I played. And with that in mind, I've already got the key heroes that I think most people should get. So we'll talk about that as well. But I want to go through and just kind of give the must-gets and then point out a couple others. And hopefully this helps you guys make that decision. So first of all, the #1 must-have on your account for Season 1, 2, 3, forever probably is Sigrid. So Sigrid here, she is our poison support hero, but she's not a support in the sense of lacking DPS. She smacks. And you'll see her in Arena as a main DPS as well. And she's a trap because she's amazing. So Sigrid is so good because she's the best healing prohibition hero in the game. She has it on her ultimate, which can be timed with a fully skilled base of 20 like most heroes. And she also has healing prohibition on her battle skill. Both of these are 100% chance to land when booked, and she's a rare, so she's easy to book. But she's also one of the most reliable for attack penalty, again, on her ultimate. But you look at her, you're like, oh, she's only single target. That's not that exciting. But no, that's where she gets interesting. So with Sigrid, you want someone to pair with her that's going to put up a red debuff. Any debuff. Could be Frost. Could be someone else that does attack penalty. Could be poison. You want someone to go before her to apply a debuff on all of the enemies. Then she has to go after them, and she's going to hit every enemy that has a debuff. So all of a sudden, this single target damage turns into full board AoE damage if you pair her with the right heroes. That's what makes her amazing. Then she has this passive. When an enemy inflicted with a debuff dies, the hero gains 25% ultimate energy. So she comes back and smashes again. So she's amazing for everything, honestly. But goblin farming early on in Season 1 is really key. Well, goblin farming in every season is really key, as we know. That's probably the thing we have to do the most. And she's definitely good for that. She's good for Arena. She's good for really any of the boss fights where you need her debuffs. She's just a really, really good hero. So in Season 1, poison is paired with fire. So with her, you're going to want someone, again, that places the debuff to go before her. So someone that's a poisoner that does actual poisons on their AoE is great. Letalis, or someone that provides some debuffs as a poison but not poison debuff hero. Also great. Fire, there's heroes like Dane that people pair with her quite a lot as well. You're going to see Dane and Sigrid in a lot of dungeon teams. So keep in mind that she needs setup, but she smacks. This is 820% damage full board when you pair her with the right heroes. And one of the best heroes to pair her with in season 1 is not part of her synergy, but it is in season 2. But it's still worth the pairing, and people still will use it in even Goblin throughout the whole thing. For Arena is Voresh. So I'm going to mention that with this in mind. So if we go to the market, you're going to see this amazing chest, which it doesn't let me click. Oh, here it is. Epic Hero Selectable Chest for only $1. So I still say, and I will always argue this point, Voresh number 1, 100%. He is perfect because you can pay $1, you get Voresh, and then you get Sigrid from the free chest, and they pair perfectly together. He does a full board AoE hit 3 times, so he's also great for Witch's Remains, or Crown of Unclean, of course. But buff Prohibition, there you go. There's your red debuff to place before Sigrid goes, so she can do a full board smash. Voresh is a top tier option to pick from the epic chest because he does that. He pairs so well with Sigrid. He hits 3 times with a full board, so he's great for Witch's Remains artifact, which should always be the first artifact chosen. And he's also great in a Holy Hunter stun set, more chances to stun your enemies, which is huge for Pillar of Trial and Fey Meander, as well as Arena. He also dispels a buff from his battle skill. So dispels a buff and buff Prohibition make him really great against bosses and content where in, again, Arena, where you're dealing with enemies that have buffs that you need to get rid of or prevent. And then his passive actually has him heal allies. So not only is he a DPS with really important utility with a buff, dealing with buffs, but he also is a healer. And he can be your Witch's Remains, and he can be your stun set hero. He could be the hero that has, he can just be built so many ways. He can be built with full crit rate. He can be built with attack as the only focus and accuracy, or no accuracy, and just try to use him for extra healing. Like, there's so many things you can do with Voresh that I think he is the no-brainer choice for the epic selector chest because he's versatile and you will use him forever. And if you're not, you're probably doing something wrong because you're missing out. All right, so Voresh is the number 1. So back, I guess while we're here on the epic chest, I'm going to point out the number 2 and number 3 arguably are Furboth, who I think is more important in season 1 than the other tank we're going to mention next. Furboth brings attack penalty and healing, and which is huge for every content, but it makes him perfect for Vortex. He also brings a great aura, defense in all battles. But he is really, really good in a lot of content. He pairs well with fire, and we get the free heroes like Erich in season 1, so Furboth is great to pair with him. The other hero that many people pick first or second, or at least third would be on the list, would be Garius. A lot of people pick him first because he's super OP with massive heals, but it really depends on your synergies. And in season 1, Lightning and Radiance necessarily is not the strongest, I would say, but Garius also is not the strongest without a Gatekeeper staff. But he has massive heals, 600% defense as a full board, which is amazing, of course, right? And then he has a little bit of extra stuff here, which is less important, but the defense up is great. He adds a ton of defense, a ton, which makes his heal even bigger. And he has a defense aura just like Furboth. So those are kind of the 3 core people that you should get from the Epic Selector chest. It's up to you to decide which one you think is best, but I still say Voresh because he's so versatile as more than just he's not just a one thing. I mean, to be fair, like Furboth at least is an attack penalty and tank and healer, where Garius is just a healer and tank and doesn't provide extra utility until you can buy the legendary artifact that should be probably your third, I would say third pick. This is probably your second, after Witch's Remains should be your first, second, third if you have a Garius or honestly probably just Garius. Really, the first season is the strongest for this. There might be a couple others, but he's by far the best healer, and this will allow heals to turn into shields. So that gives him more utility, but without that I don't think Garius quite has the value that a lot of people want to give him credit for. I feel like Garius becomes super strong in season 1. But alright, let's head it back to our rare chest and talk about the other options. Let's say you already have a Sigrid. Oh, I guess, no, you know what? Let me do the fair thing. Let's continue the other honorable mentions. So if you got lucky and you have Furboth, Garius, and Voresh on your account, I would say the next best choices are Shelter if you have Dauntless heroes, like, and you don't have a Velios. Let's say you pulled Nashjenka or Theraval. Shelter is huge. Tunnelnon is a top tier option, probably over Shelter, because she will pair with Erich and make a wild team. Really, really, really strong options there. And also I think number 4 would actually, after the 3 we mentioned, I would say Zarloth is number 4. He's kind of like Voresh in the sense he brings AoE, he brings a heal as well, so he's a little bit of a mix of a healer and a DPS. And then he also hits 3 times, but not full board, but still AoE. He is my number 4 choice. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of niche heroes, like Hedgeio's a great rally hero. Horus is a great poison hero. There's definitely a lot of niche things like that that you could consider for your teams, but there's definitely the top 4 for sure beyond that. Also, Adolphus, really, really strong support hero. If you're looking for survivability, especially in the fire element, Adolphus and Isolde pair really well together. All right, now let's go. Okay, so if you're looking for where the hell did my thing go, it goes in your backpack with your consumables. So here it is. And I'm going to mention something. So some of the other rares that I think are really strong, like Enna, become a little less strong because we have this. So one thing that's really, really hard in the very beginning of any season is farming the flame domain for these, plus whoever is paired with them. And now we have the option to choose to get these. I can just pick them and be like, I want fire. That's amazing. It's so helpful. We get these boxes from our trial, and we do not get these in the future seasons, by the way, at least not yet. So season 1, this is just huge. You get the lower version, the common version, and the rare version of these. And it's just huge for being able to get the resources you need without struggling too much. Although, again, you are going to have to farm it a little bit, but this can help take the heat off a little bit. But with that in mind, I would say that picking Enna is often a top choice for people besides Sigrid because she is a cleanser. But because Enna now falls off the radar a bit if you're not going to play 100% free to play, if you're willing to spend just, let's say, oh wait, where is it? It's an event. Right? Yes. If you're willing to spend just $1, get the epic chest, you'll get one hero of your choice, plus you'll get a bonus hero. You'll get V-Cook as well, so don't choose V-Cook from the chest. You'll get V-Cook and 2 scrolls and some gold to go with him. Amazing, amazing deal for $1. And he is the much better version of Enna as far as cleansing goes, plus a heal. So your need for Enna falls off if you do get that dollar chest and you get that bonus V-Cook. But besides that, I would say another top 2 or 3 choice would be Usha. So if you didn't get Usha, she is a massive damage dealer. She's the one I would use for my team now in Goblin. And yeah, she is just insane. And that's because if the enemy is under frost, she does double damage. So this 2 hits is 800%, which means she does 1600% damage. Yes, that's correct. She does 1600% damage in an AoE smash when you have someone else enable her. So she's kind of key, honestly. And she puts up attack speed up here, gains a shield to help keep herself alive. So she makes a great, like, semi-tank for Goblin. And then along with that, she's the main DPS as well. So she's just insane. She would be my top choices. If you already have Usha and Sigrid, and maybe even Anna, I would say after that, it's a little less like you must pick certain heroes, more about just filling the gaps you don't have. So if I go through here super quick, again, Latalis can go with Sigrid because he has an AoE with debuffs. So that's a great pairing with Sigrid right there. For something even just Goblin, honestly. Yagnats is a top option for Dauntless. He's surprising. Bronwyn is surprisingly good for Wilds. I mean, I can't mention everybody. Adri. Now, she's probably one of the most underrated, amazing heroes in the game. She hits 3 times, hits really hard, reduces ultimate energy on enemies where you can do that. Not everywhere. Recharging speed penalty as well. And then she ignores 30% of resistance. So you don't need to give her as much accuracy as you do other heroes because she ignores resistance automatically, which means you can build her for more damage. So she's just a really, really good hero to have, where she can place accuracy penalty and help protect your team with getting, if they have some resistance, to not get the debuffs from the enemy. And then it's just really this is a nice big hit. I mean, 3 times 280, that's a pretty big hit for a rare. And then she comes back to her ultimate. Oh, or she's going to go more often because she's reducing the enemy's ultimate, at least in some cases. So that's just another really cool hero to get if you don't have her. Dench is a really good poison enabler. So if you have a poison, if you pull a Vicana or a Jathalea, I think Lothair, maybe there's some others as well that need someone else to place poisons. He's a really good one for that. And I would say Fitz is pretty strong if you need cleansing help in Grave of Rot or Flame Domain. Fitz can be your tank. You give him accuracy. He takes the debuffs from all your allies and then puts them on himself. If you give him resistance, you don't... Sorry, yeah, did I say accuracy? If you give him resistance, then he does not actually take those debuffs, but he still does the cleanse type thing. So, really cool tank, but he's kind of squishy overall and doesn't survive well in really, really hard content. Tio is a top option if you're going to go summoner teams, like I've mentioned in my other video. He is really, really good with anybody because he gives a 30% all battles legendary version of the aura. And then he also does extra damage here and he's also a summoner. He does explosion of the corpses, so he's pretty cool. And he's really good for Goblin too. Megan is a top support option. She doesn't sound like she's a great healer, but she actually is. She also can cleanse the defense penalty from the 4th level of Vortex. So she's really, really good. Really good hero to put in the Needle artifact as well. I think those are kind of the main ones. Like there's some other niche, like Eli's a pretty solid hitter. Welby is a pretty big damage dealer for Rally that you wouldn't expect. But, and then yeah, Vani is another good enabler, plus damage for Dauntless. So those are kind of the key ones that stick out to me. Oh, I forgot about Quarion. Quarion is a top tier healer as well. Don't forget about Quarion if you're looking for healing, especially with the Radiant pairing. He actually does a really good job. He adds a defense up buff, which helps keep everyone alive, plus heals based on target max HP, which you can increase with your artifacts, and extra healing here as well. But alright guys, that's my conversation there regarding the chests. Hope that was helpful. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Be sure to download via Android, iOS, Mac, PC, Steam, or Epic Games if you haven't already. And thanks again to Dragonheir Silent Gods for sponsoring today's video.